The massive alien ship appeared over New York without warning. Its sleek silver hull reflected the morning sunlight, casting strange shadows over the city below. Military jets scrambled to surround it, but the vessel made no aggressive moves. Instead, it broadcast a simple message in perfect English. "We come representing the Galactic Council. Prepare your leaders for first contact." Ambassador James Walker stood at the United Nations podium, straightening his tie for the 10th time. Around him, world leaders whispered among themselves. After decades of wondering if aliens existed, humanity was about to meet them. Security teams checked the Grand Hall one final time as the alien delegation prepared to enter. The doors swung open. 3 tall figures glided in, their movements unnaturally smooth. The lead alien had gray skin that seemed to shimmer like metal, with 4 arms and a head that came to a gentle point. Its large eyes scanned the room, and Walker noticed something in those eyes he didn't like: contempt. "Greetings, primitives," the alien spoke, its voice oddly musical. "I am High Speaker of the Galactic Council. We have come to officially welcome Earth into our protection." Walker felt his stomach tighten. The word primitives hadn't gone unnoticed by anyone in the room. He stepped forward anyway, maintaining his diplomatic smile. "Earth welcomes the opportunity for peaceful dialogue with the Galactic Council. I am Ambassador Walker, speaking on behalf of the United Nations." The High Speaker's head tilted. "Dialogue? You misunderstand. We are not here to dialogue. We are here to inform you of your new status as a protectorate of the Council." Murmurs of anger rippled through the assembly. Walker kept his voice steady. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. Earth is a sovereign world. We're happy to discuss trade, cultural exchange, or alliance, but we won't simply submit to outside rule." The alien's second-in-command stepped forward, its voice harder than the High Speaker's. "You have no choice in this matter. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are laughable. Your people are divided. Accept our protection, or face isolation from the galactic community." Walker felt his diplomatic mask slipping. He looked around the room, seeing the same anger and determination in the faces of Earth's leaders that he felt himself. Humanity had fought too long and too hard for its freedom to give it up to the first aliens who came along. He straightened his back and spoke clearly. "Then let me be equally clear. Earth does not respond well to threats. We reject your offer of protection. We reject your assumption of authority over our world. And we absolutely reject the idea that we are primitive." The High Speaker's eyes narrowed. "You dare refuse the Council?" "We dare." Walker's voice carried throughout the silent hall. "Humanity has fought wars, survived disasters, and reached for the stars on our own. We've developed our civilization without outside help. If you came seeking allies, you would have found them. Instead, you came seeking subjects." The alien delegation's contempt turned to visible anger. The High Speaker's skin rippled with changing colors. "You have no idea what you're refusing. No idea of the powers you're challenging." Walker smiled, but there was steel in it. "And you have no idea who you're threatening. Humanity isn't as primitive as you think. We'd rather face isolation than surrender our independence." "So be it," the High Speaker hissed. "Let your isolation begin. When your people suffer, remember, you chose this." The alien delegation turned and glided out, their movements now sharp with anger. As the doors closed behind them, the assembly burst into heated discussion. Walker stayed at the podium, watching the doors. He knew Earth had just made powerful enemies, but he also knew something else. Humanity had faced threats before. They had survived. They had won. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Admiral Thompson. They reacted exactly as we predicted. Begin Operation Watchdog. And Kate, they don't know about the quantum defense grid. Let's keep it that way." As Walker looked out over the assembly, he allowed himself a small, grim smile. The Galactic Council thought they had found an easy target. Instead, they had just awakened a sleeping giant. Earth wouldn't just survive this challenge, it would change the galaxy forever. The real question was, how many stars would burn before the Council learned their mistake? 3 weeks after the Council's threats, Admiral Kate Thompson stood in Earth's secret underground command center, studying the holographic display of Earth's orbit. Hundreds of tiny red dots blinked around the planet. "How many did we find?" she asked, her eyes fixed on the display. The young technician beside her checked his tablet. "Over 300 alien surveillance devices, Admiral. They've been there for years, hiding in plain sight. We thought they were just space debris." Kate walked around the display, her face lit by the blue glow. "And they think we haven't noticed them." She allowed herself a small smile. "That's their first mistake." The command center buzzed with activity. Scientists and military personnel worked at their stations, analyzing the alien technology they'd retrieved. A group of engineers huddled around a dismantled alien device, their excitement visible as they made new discoveries. "Admiral," called out Dr. Roberts from his workstation, "you need to see this." He held up a piece of alien tech no bigger than a coin. "Their quantum shielding. It's not as advanced as they think. There's a weakness, a frequency that can disrupt it completely." Kate picked up the device, turning it over in her hands. "They'd gotten lazy," she said. "Too used to being the strongest ones around. How long until we can reproduce this technology?" "A month, maybe less," Roberts replied. "And we can improve it, make it better than theirs." The main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. "Admiral," the communications officer called out, "the Council's blockade ships have arrived at the edge of our solar system." The room fell silent as everyone watched massive alien vessels take position around the solar system's edge. Their sleek designs would have been beautiful if they weren't so threatening. "Let them think they have us trapped," Kate said, her voice carrying across the quiet room. "While they're busy blocking our official space lanes, our stealth ships are already slipping past them." Captain Tom Miller, leader of Earth's new stealth fleet, stepped forward. "Team 2 just reported in. They've successfully mapped 3 Council supply routes. Team 3 found what looks like a major military base 2 systems over." Kate nodded, pleased. The Council's arrogance was working in Earth's favor. They were so convinced of humanity's primitive status that they weren't even trying to hide their movements. "What about the reverse engineering project?" she asked, turning to another section of the command center. Dr. Emma White looked up from her computer. "We've cracked their communication codes. Their encryption was good, but our quantum computers are better. We can read every message they send." A loud cheer erupted from the engineering section. Everyone turned to look as one of the alien devices hummed to life, its strange symbols glowing with blue light. "First successful activation of Council tech," announced Chief Engineer Martinez. "We not only understand how it works, we can build our own now." Kate walked to the center of the room, looking at each section in turn. "The Council thinks they're punishing us with this blockade," she said. "Instead, they're giving us exactly what we need. Time. Time to prepare, time to learn, time to build." She brought up a new hologram, showing Earth's growing fleet of hidden ships. "They expect us to come crawling back, begging for mercy. Instead, we'll show them what humanity can do when backed into a corner." The room filled with determined nods and fierce smiles. They all knew what was at stake. The Council had expected to find a primitive species they could easily control. Instead, they had awakened humanity's greatest strengths: innovation, determination, and the absolute refusal to bow down to tyrants. "Send word to all stations," Kate ordered. "Operation Thunderbolt begins in 3 weeks. Let's show the Council why you should never underestimate Earth." As the command center burst into action, Kate looked at the tactical display one more time. The Council's ships looked so confident, so secure in their superiority. They had no idea that their every move was being watched, their every secret being uncovered. Soon, very soon, They would learn just how costly their mistake had been. Captain Michael Reed crouched in the shadows of an alien space station, his advanced stealth suit making him nearly invisible. Around him, his team waited silently. They had infiltrated deep into Council space, and what they discovered was changing everything they knew about their enemies. "Control, this is Ghost Lead," he whispered into his communication device. "You're not going to believe what we're seeing." Back on Earth, Admiral Thompson's voice came through clearly. "Report, Captain." "They're afraid of us," Michael said, watching alien crews hurry past his hidden position. "Not just cautious, actually afraid. Their internal reports show that humans are physically stronger than 90% of Council species, and our reaction speed, off their charts." A group of Council security officers walked past. Michael noticed how they moved, slow and careful compared to human movements. What the Council saw as primitive aggression was actually physical superiority they couldn't match. "That's not all," Michael continued. "Their intelligence division tried to warn them. Found reports saying Earth should be approached with extreme caution. The Council ignored them." His team's technical expert, Jack Wilson, worked on a nearby computer terminal. "Admiral, I'm sending you their military data now. Their ships are designed to fight enemies who think like they do. Their tactics are all wrong for dealing with humans." Inside the Council station's main computer room, the human team worked quickly. They had discovered something else, something that would change the coming battle completely. "Found it," Jack announced quietly. "Their entire defense network runs on predictable patterns. They never expected anyone to think differently than they do. Their A's are simple, logical, but simple." Admiral Thompson's voice carried a hint of satisfaction, like playing chess against someone who only thinks one move ahead. Michael's team downloaded massive amounts of Council military data, ship movements, defense plans, communication protocols, everything they would need. The Council's overconfidence had left their networks vulnerable to human ingenuity. 5 minutes until shift change, warned Anna Martinez, the team's lookout. Michael nodded. "Heading to extraction point now." But first, he planted a small device on the station's main computer. It would quietly spread through the Council's networks, gathering intelligence for Earth. As they moved through the station's corridors, Michael noticed something else. The artificial gravity was stronger than Earth standard. The Council species found it comfortable, but it meant his team was operating in conditions that made them even stronger than usual. "One last thing, Admiral," Michael reported as they neared their hidden ship. "We found their reports on human biology. They think we're too aggressive, too adventurous. They're calling us Death Worlders, species from planets that should be too dangerous to produce intelligent life." Admiral Thompson chuckled. "If they think Earth is dangerous, wait until they see what humans can do in space." The team reached their ship unseen, another proof of human superiority. The Council's security systems, designed to detect their own people, couldn't track humans effectively. Back on their stealth ship, Michael reviewed their findings. The Council had made a series of crucial mistakes. They had judged humanity by their own standards. They had ignored warnings about Earth's potential. And most importantly, they had given humans time to learn their weaknesses. "Ghost Team is away clean," Michael reported as their ship slipped past the station's sensors. "No signs of detection. Ready to begin Phase 2. "Good work, Captain," Admiral Thompson replied. "The Council thinks they've trapped us in our solar system. They don't realize they've just given us the perfect testing ground for our new weapons." As the stealth ship headed home, Michael looked at the Council station growing smaller behind them. Soon, that station and others like it would learn just how wrong they had been about humanity. The Council thought humans were primitive because they didn't follow Council logic. They were about to learn that thinking differently was humanity's greatest strength. "How long until Operation Thunderbolt?" Michael asked. 1 week, came the reply. "The Council's peacekeeping fleet enters our system in 7 days. They're expecting to find a weakened, isolated planet ready to surrender." Michael smiled. Instead, they'll find out why you should never corner a species that evolved on a death world. The stealth ship vanished into the darkness of space, carrying secrets that would soon shake the galaxy to its foundations. The Council's peacekeeping fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly as predicted. 50 massive warships, their silver hulls gleaming in the starlight, moved into attack formation. On their command ship, the Council Admiral felt nothing but contempt for the primitive world they had come to subdue. "No signs of resistance," reported his sensor officer. "The humans appear to be hiding in their planet's shadow." The Council Admiral's mouthparts twitched in what passed for a smile. "As expected. Begin the approach. Prepare to demonstrate our power." But in Earth's hidden command center, Admiral Kate Thompson watched the Council fleet with very different emotions. "They're following the exact attack pattern we found in their database," she said, turning to her staff. "Are all units in position?" "Yes, Admiral," her tactical officer replied. "Operation Thunderbolt is ready. All ships report combat ready." Kate took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. "Send the signal. Begin Phase 1. In space, seemingly empty regions suddenly flickered as Earth's stealth ships dropped their cloaking fields. The Council fleet found themselves surrounded by 200 human vessels, each equipped with weapons specifically designed to counter Council technology. "What?" the Council Admiral screamed as alarms blared across his ship. "Impossible. Their technology level." His words were cut off as the first human ships opened fire. Beams of energy struck the Council vessels at exactly the frequency needed to disrupt their shields. Missiles carrying special warheads ghosted through their defensive screens like they weren't even there. "Multiple direct hits," shouted Captain Reed from his attack ship. "Their shields are useless against our new weapons." The Council fleet tried to respond, but they found their targeting systems couldn't lock onto the human ships. Earth's vessels moved in patterns their computers couldn't predict, their attacks coming from angles the Council had never considered possible. "Launch fighters," ordered the Council Admiral, panic creeping into his voice. Thousands of small Council fighter craft poured out of their carrier ships, but they immediately faced another surprise: Earth's combat AIs. While Council AIs thought in straight lines and logical patterns, human AIs thought like their creators, unpredictably, creatively, and with a warrior's instinct. "Their fighters are falling into our trap," reported Jack Wilson, now serving as an AI controller. "Our drones are hurting them exactly where we want them." In space, the battle looked like a deadly dance. Council fighters exploded by the hundreds as Earth's AI-controlled drones outmaneuvered them at every turn. The larger Council ships found themselves caught between multiple attacks, unable to defend against weapons they had never imagined possible. "Status report," Kate demanded, watching the tactical display. 15 Council capital ships destroyed," came the reply. 20 more heavily damaged. Only minor damage to our forces. They still haven't adapted to our attack patterns." The Council Admiral stared in horror as his fleet fell apart around him. "This is impossible. They're primitives. How can they?" His words were cut off as 3 human ships appeared from nowhere, their weapons already firing. His mighty command ship shields failed in seconds. "Council command vessel is disabled," reported Captain Reed. "Their admiral is demanding to speak with us." Kate allowed herself a small smile. "Put him through." The Council Admiral's image appeared on their screens, his alien features twisted with shock and fear. How did you do this? You're supposed to be primitives." "That was your mistake," Kate replied calmly. "You judged us by your standards. You never wondered why Earth's history was full of warfare, why we had advanced so quickly, why your intelligence division warned you about us." As the remaining Council ships began to surrender, news of the battle spread across the galaxy at light speed. Humanity, the supposed primitives, had just destroyed half of a Council peacekeeping fleet and captured the rest. "Send word to our allies," Kate ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. The Council's myth of invincibility is broken. Now the real war begins. The battle was over, but its impact was just beginning. Across Council space, subjugated species watched in amazement as news of humanity's victory spread. For the first time in centuries, they began to hope. If Earth could defeat the Council, perhaps they could too. The news of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On the planet Proxima 3, Admiral Kate Thompson watched alien crowds celebrating in the streets through the window of her diplomatic ship. It was the third planet she had visited this week, and everywhere the story was the same. Earth's defeat of the Council fleet had changed everything. Another request for alliance. Admiral, her aide reported, holding up a datapad. The free worlds of Centauri want Earth's help to break away from Council control. Kate nodded, unsurprised. In the months since Operation Thunderbolt, 17 alien species had already reached out to Earth. They all wanted the same thing: freedom from the Council's iron grip. Tell them yes, she said, and send them the technical specifications for our shield-piercing weapons. It's time everyone had the tools to fight back. On the Council's capital world, things were very different. The High Speaker faced an angry assembly of Council representatives. "How could you let this happen?" shouted one alien delegate, his scales turning red with rage. "First, we lose half a fleet to primitives, and now our subject worlds are revolting." The High Speaker's forehands trembled. "We have sent pacification fleets to deal with the rebels." "Those fleets are being destroyed," interrupted another delegate. "The humans are sharing their weapons technology with everyone who opposes us. Our military superiority is gone." In Earth's new Interstellar Command Center, Ambassador James Walker studied reports from across the galaxy. The Council's perfectly ordered system was falling apart, and humanity was leading the charge. "Another Council governor has surrendered," reported Agent Lisa Cooper, Earth's chief of intelligence. "His whole sector is now under rebel control. They're asking for Earth advisors to help set up a free government." James smiled. "Send them whatever they need. The more allies we have, the harder it will be for the Council to maintain control." A holographic display showed the current state of the galaxy. Red areas marked Council control, while blue showed free territories. Every hour, more red turned to blue. "Sir," called out a communications officer, "we're picking up a transmission from inside the Council. You need to see this." The message appeared on the main screen. It was from a group of Council military officers reaching out secretly to Earth. "We have served the Council loyally," their message read, "but we can no longer ignore the truth. Your victory showed us that the old ways are finished. If we help you, will you guarantee our people's freedom as well?" James looked at Kate, who had just returned from her diplomatic mission. She nodded. "Tell them yes," she said. "The more Council forces that join us, the fewer we have to fight." The Council's carefully built system of control was crumbling. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were rising up, using Earth's tactics and technology. The Council's own military was beginning to doubt their leaders. "Latest intelligence report," Lisa announced. "The Council is trying to gather their remaining loyal forces for one massive attack. They think if they can defeat Earth, they can regain control of their empire." Kate's expression hardened. "They still don't understand. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about freedom for every species they've oppressed." James walked to the center of the command room, looking at the gathered human and alien staff. "Send word to all our allies. The Council is planning their final gambit. Let them come. They'll find not just Earth waiting for them, but a galaxy tired of their rule." As the message went out, ships from 24 alien species began moving into position around Earth. The Council had spent centuries building their empire through fear and power. Now they would learn a harder lesson. The strongest chains were the easiest to break once someone showed the way. "The Council thinks this is their last chance to restore their power," Kate said quietly. "They're right about one thing. This will be their last chance. But not in the way they think." Agent Lisa Cooper moved silently through the shadows of the Council's last major military base. Her stealth suit, now enhanced with both human and alien technology, made her practically invisible. After months of planning, she was about to uncover the Council's final plan. "I'm in their war room," she whispered into her communicator. "You won't believe what they're planning." Back on Earth, Admiral Thompson and Ambassador Walker listened intently. The massive Allied fleet, ships from Earth, and 24 rebel species waited in hidden positions throughout the galaxy. "The Council is gathering every ship they have left," Lisa reported, scanning secret documents with her advanced camera. 300 capital ships, over 1,000 support vessels. They're calling it the Hammer of Order. Through her hidden cameras, the Earth leaders watched Council commanders planning their attack. The Council's remaining loyal forces had stripped their worlds of defenses for this one massive strike. "Their target?" Kate asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Earth," Lisa confirmed. "They think if they can destroy humanity's homeworld, the rebellion will collapse. But there's more. They've developed some kind of new weapon, something they think can pierce our defenses." James studied the tactical display, showing the Council fleet's gathering point. "They're desperate," he said. "They're risking everything on one attack." "Wait," Lisa interrupted. "Something's happening. High-ranking officers are arriving for a meeting." She fell silent, listening through her advanced equipment as the Council leaders discussed their plans. "This is perfect," she finally said, her voice excited despite her training. "They're revealing everything. Attack vectors, ship positions, codes. They're so confident in their security they're not even being careful." The Council's supreme military commander stood before his officers, his voice full of pride. "The humans think they've won. They think their victory over one fleet means they can challenge centuries of Council rule. We will show them their mistake." The alien officers cheered, not realizing their entire meeting was being recorded by the hidden human agent. "We have lost much," the commander continued, "but with this final strike, we will restore order. Our new quantum disruptor weapon will shut down their shields. Their allies will watch Earth burn and know the price of defiance." Lisa's voice came through again, tight with concern. "They're launching in 6 hours. Their weapon, it could actually work. The technical specs look dangerous." But Kate was smiling. "No, Lisa, this is exactly what we wanted. Remember the plan?" James nodded, understanding. "Let them come with everything they have. Let them commit their entire force, because when their fleet is gone, the Council will have nothing left," Kate finished. "Send word to all Allied forces. Operation Final Dawn is in effect. Time to spring our trap." Throughout the galaxy, hidden fleets of Earth and rebel ships began moving into position. The Council, focused entirely on their massive armada, never noticed the net closing around them. "Should I pull out?" Lisa asked, still hidden in the Council base. "No," Kate replied. "Stay there. When their fleet leaves, we need you to transmit the signal that will disable their new weapon. The Council's own computer network will be their downfall." In space, the massive Council fleet began to move. 300 capital ships, gleaming with power, preparing to restore their empire's glory. Their commanders never suspected that every move, every plan, every secret was already known to their enemies. "All pieces are in place," James reported. "Earth fleet is ready. Rebel forces are in position. Council loyalists who joined us are standing by." Kate looked at the tactical display one last time. Soon, the largest space battle in galactic history would begin. But unlike the Council's leaders, she knew how it would end. "Send the final code to all forces," she ordered. "Operation Final Dawn begins at their first jump point. The Council wanted to make an example of Earth. Let's give them an example they'll never forget." The Council's massive fleet appeared exactly where Earth's intelligence said it would. 300 capital ships, their weapons charged, ready to crush humanity once and for all. On their command ship, the Council's supreme commander stood proudly. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Launch the quantum disruptor. Show these primitives the price of defiance." But as the Council fleet moved forward, something strange happened. Their new superweapon, designed to shut down Earth's defenses, didn't work. In the Council's main military base, Agent Lisa Cooper smiled as she transmitted the final virus through their network. "Weapon neutralized," she reported. "They're all yours, Admiral." That's when Earth sprung its trap. From hidden positions around the massive Council fleet, over 500 ships appeared, Earth vessels, rebel forces, and former Council ships that had joined the humans. The Council fleet found itself completely surrounded. Admiral Kate Thompson's voice broadcasted across all frequencies. "Attention Council forces, you are surrounded. Your superweapon has been disabled. Surrender now or face destruction." The Council commander laughed. "You think we fear your numbers? We are the Council. We have ruled the galaxy for centuries. All ships, open fire." Space lit up with energy beams and weapons fire. But something was wrong. The Council ships' shots missed their targets, their targeting computers confused by human AI countermeasures. Meanwhile, Earth's alliance struck from all sides, their weapons perfectly coordinated. "Multiple Council ships disabled," reported Captain Reed from his battle cruiser. "Their formation is breaking apart." The Council commander watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. Human ships moved in ways his officers couldn't predict, striking from impossible angles. Allied vessels using Earth's technology tore through their best defenses. Former Council ships, knowing all their old tactics, countered their every move. "This is impossible," he shouted as another explosion rocked his ship. "We are the Council. We cannot be defeated by." His words were cut off as his ship's engines died, disabled by precise hits from Earth's forces. All around him, Council ships were either being destroyed or surrendering. "Status report," Kate demanded from Earth's command center. "Over half the Council fleet has surrendered," came the response. "The rest are disabled or destroyed. No casualties among our forces." The trap worked perfectly. Ambassador James Walker stepped forward. "Send the signal to all Council worlds. Show them what's happening here. Let everyone see that the Council's power is broken." Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched as the mighty Council fleet was defeated. On hundreds of worlds, the last loyal Council forces saw their supreme fleet broken and surrendered to local rebel forces. In the Council's Great Hall, the High Speaker watched the battle footage in shock. Around him, Council representatives were already arguing, blaming each other for their downfall. Then the doors opened, and Ambassador Walker walked in, this time not as a supplicant, but as a conqueror. "The Council's rule is over," he announced. "Earth and its allies now control this chamber. Your choice is simple. Help us build a new, fair government for all species, or face trial for your crimes against the galaxy." One by one, the Council members bowed their heads in surrender. Centuries of absolute power ended not with a bang, but with quiet acceptance of defeat. Back in space, Admiral Thompson looked at the battlefield. Council ships floated powerless, surrounded by the victorious Allied fleet. "Send word to all forces," she ordered. "The war is over. The Council has fallen. Today marks the beginning of the new Galactic Federation." On Earth, humans celebrated their victory. But it wasn't just Earth's victory. Across the galaxy, formerly enslaved species rejoiced in their freedom. The Council had fought to make an example of humanity. Instead, humanity had shown the galaxy a better way. "What happens now?" Captain Reed asked as Allied ships began helping disabled Council vessels. "Now comes the hard part," James replied. "Building a galaxy where all species are truly equal. But after what we've achieved today, I think we're ready for that challenge." The stars shone brightly on the victorious fleet. The Council had ruled through fear and power. The new Federation would rule through cooperation and respect. And it had all started because they had underestimated one simple truth: never tell humanity something is impossible. They'll prove you wrong every time.